I am Raul Diaz, VP of Exploration of Silver One Resources. This presentation was supposed to be done by Greg Kraut, president of the company. He didn't make it. And I hope I don't lose you. There's a lot of information in this slide, so I believe there is more than I can present in 10 minutes, but I'll do best I can. And if I lose you, just want you to remember three things. In this company, we have great assets, over 150 million ounces of silver in the ground, great people, and very good financial backing. Silver One was formed a couple of years ago by Keith Neumeyer, who formed also First Quantum and First Majestic, then First Mining Finance, from which Silver One acquired the first three projects. We acquired three in Mexico and then one in Nevada from Silver Standard. And between the three projects, we have a little over 150 million ounces of silver. So in terms of value, ballpark, we have 100 million shares. So right there in the ground, you have at least over an ounce of silver per every share, and we are severely undervalued. Our value is about 20 cents Canadian today. So far as resources in the ground and value, we have a lot of material that we can get a hand on, and these are not just made-up ounces. These are very good projects that have a very good chance to make profitable mines. Great people. Greg Kraut comes from retirement, and he worked for Antre Gold in Mongolia, and developed Oyu Tolgoi, which is one of the largest copper mines in the world, which he sold to Rio Tinto. Myself, I come from the largest silver producer in the world, Fresnillo and Peñoles, where I worked for 20 years, and developed a deposit that is called Los Filos in Bermejal, which was not long ago, about a year ago, acquired by Lea Gold for $800 million. And that there is a huge district. So I know silver, and I know what it takes to develop mines that can make money. And we have in our advisory Chris Osterman, who was instrumental in the formation of Silver One. And if you haven't followed the story of from First Mining, haven't followed that story, came from a company that have very good projects in Mexico, but almost no resources, and brought it from zero resources to nearly 50 million ounces of gold in a matter of a couple of years. In Silver One, we have 5 projects, 3 projects in Nevada. 2 projects in Nevada. The Candelaria flagship is in Candelaria, an old mine in between Reno and Las Vegas. And 3 projects in Mexico, the Peñasco Quemado in northern Sonora, Frazada in Nayarit, and Pluton in Mexico. All of them are in friendly jurisdictions, no infrastructure problems, no problems of long winters, so they are you can work there year-round. Our best and the most advanced is Candelaria in Nevada, where we have a little over 150 million ounces in the ground, 50 of which are in leach pads that were left over from previous operators. And those leach pads have excellent grade considering what is being mined by our neighbors. We have 44 grams of silver in leach pads. And just if you believe that is low grade, just think about Rochester that is mining a lot of material, but very low grade, 13 grams per ton of silver. So we have 3 times right out of the ground. We don't have to pay for mining, don't have to pay for transport it, just remove it and maybe crush it fine, and then we can recover at least or maybe 50%. Candelaria is a past producer. It, in its history, has produced nearly 70 million ounces of silver, many of which were high grade that the old-timers mined in the early 1900s, late 1800s. And the average of that grade in the early days was over a kilogram silver. That is an absurd amount of silver. So you rarely have those grades. And what we are aiming is two things. Well, this is just to show the infrastructure. We have a road to the mine, power, water. All the buildings were removed because this mine was being remediated. Silver Standard acquired it, and the remediation was still going on, but it was not completed, so it is open. The permits are in place, so it can be reactivated as soon as everything is ready to do so. We have three opportunities, three things that we can do in here. The first thing is reprocess the leach pads. Right there, we have 36 million tons of 44 grams silver, which contain the 50 million ounces that I talked about. So, again, if you feel that the 44 grams are low grade, just think about Rochester. And even if you think that the silver oxides are tough to recover, even in the worst case scenario, we have a good shot of doing that. We are currently testing HPGR crusher, which produces very fine material, which in our case is very favorable because the finer that we get, the more recovery that we can achieve. And current tests show that we can recover easily 30%. We are aiming to produce more. HPGR crushers consume a lot less energy, so we can crush with a lot less energy than with typical crushers. So this could be a very, very profitable if we can demonstrate that with the column testing that we are doing currently, produce around the 30% that we are at least aiming for. Second thing that we are aiming to do in Candelaria is to test resource that was left in the ground. Silver Standard did due diligence, including a few holes in between the pits, and they encountered high-grade mineralization. These stars in red show the intersection that have more than 300 grams silver. And there are all the resources are in between the pits and adjacent to it. What we will do is just confirm these grades, drill a long dip and a long strike, and look for the high-grade material that which we will mine by on-the-ground methods. It's not point of going for the open pit. The stripping ratio would be too high. So our goal is to concentrate on the high-grade mining by on-the-ground methods. One of the holes that Silver Standard drilled was 14 meters and gave 670 grams silver. So that's the sort of grade that we are looking for. Cannot guarantee that we'll get it all of that grade, but we're happy with 300, which is 10 ounces, with plenty to give us a chance to mine it economically by on-ground methods. As far as potential, we have a lot of blue sky. This is the property in the dark black outline, and the Candelaria is hosted in a regional structure that comes this way, delineated by this mountain. The resources are in here and then continues along here, and it goes for tens of kilometers. This is a regional structure that goes all the way to Tonopah, and we are here in the south of Hawthorne. So if you think of that scale, it's tens of kilometers, so the potential here is large. This is the historic resource. I'm not gonna just dwell too much on it, but just to show you, we have drilled, lot of it, most of it is inferred, but this inferred, we have a very good handle on it. We drilled the leach pads, and they were also drilled by Kinross. So we have a lot of holes that confirm the grade in the leach pads. We did sonic sampling, and that is the material we're using to run currently our metallurgical tests. We are, in terms of the timeline, we are right here doing metallurgical testing, and concurrently we are exploring new targets. The complete metallurgical testing is going to take us about 6 months, and if everything goes right, we have a chance to see this in production within 3 years. Another project with which we are very excited is Cherokee. This is a completely new discovery, was completely overlooked, Eastern Nevada, where we see this type of material. And the reason for which it was overlooked is because you see quartz fragments, white quartz everywhere. And if you don't walk enough, you don't see the structures. And our geologists were good enough to have the patients walk, identify the ridges, and delineate a couple of veins that in total are approximately 30 kilometers of veins, 2 main ones with these sort of grades. We have samples on surface that are, all these red squares, red dots, are between 500 and almost 2 kilograms. So that's also high grade right there on surface. And they were, again, completely overlooked. So this is very, very, very exciting. In Mexico, we have another one that is called Peñasco Quemado. It has only 10 million ounces, but it is in a very easy to access place. Resources were only a shallow dipping mantle that is averaging 20, 30 meters wide, thick. The area that was drilled and delineated with there's a few underground workings, is only 450 meters. We came in, did property-wide geochem and geophysics, and we identified large anomalies. So all these red are highs that we have in lead, zinc. So there's a lot of upside in there, a lot of room. In summary, we plan to advance the Candelaria, drill the high grade, put into production the leach pad first.
Let's go wrap it up. We got to keep on schedule.
Yeah, and do our exploration in the other 3 projects, Cherokee, Peñasco, Pequenado, and in the Frazada. Again, this is our management and our share structure and the history. Don't have any more time, but if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them in the back.